This is Nick Baisley from FilmSnobbery.com. I'm here at the Orlando Film Festival, here at the Plaza Cinema Cafe, here with Haley Joel Osment. How you doing, sir?
Good to see you.
So talk to me a little bit about, you're here with Montana Amazon. How did you get involved with that project?
The script came to me about 2 years ago and immediately caught my attention because it's one of the most unique stories that I've ever read. And then Allison and Olympia came along about the same time as I was reading the script, and we all got attached and just sort of went for it out in California. So it's really exciting to see it finally come to the festivals.
Excellent. Now, everyone knows where you've come from. We don't have to go too far into it. As far as those growing up that way, what are some of the things that from different projects and stuff? What have you learned that you've taken on to the next project?
I mean, every experience has, offers a lot of a lot of things for you to learn. This one, Montana Amazon in particular, was an exciting opportunity to get comfortable with really a fast pace of filmmaking. I mean, we were doing sometimes upward of 30 to 35 setups a day, which is more than twice what you normally do, even on a low-budget independent film normally. So we just learned to be very prepared to shoot a lot of different scenes on any given day, and just ready to adapt and be prepared for anything that the weather or the time constraints would force us to do. This whole movie is about three very unique characters. Wampel has been shaped by his younger sister and his grandmother.
I told you she'd be mad.
Father, take it off! It's mine now!
He's all yours, son.
I was very excited to sort of cut my teeth on a role like this, and the film is based around the experience of these three very unique individuals.
Grandma, Father's gonna come back, and I'm gonna tell him you've been bad, and he's gonna take us away, far away from you.
Working with two very fine actors such as Olympia and Allison has been crucial to sort of finding this role and putting it on film the way it should be.
I had a dream. My father shot a tiger with a rifle as big as his arm.
They're so individual and so creatively produced. It took a lot of imagination to bring these characters to life.
Oh, you killed him! You killed Father!
I shoot stranger.
Can't say that I've ever met anyone that resembles or, gives more than flavors of these characters.
$300.
Now, you mentioned at the panel last night, you and I were at the panel here at Orlando. That was fun.
That was a really fun panel, yeah.
Yeah, now, you mentioned that you were at New York studying experimental theater. What was that? How did you kind of come about that decision as opposed to kind of just continuing other acting pursuits?
I left it open while I was in school. That if a script came along that I really responded to, that I would take a leave of absence, and NYU was luckily very accommodating with that. I actually did take a semester off to do Montana Amazon because the script came along and I just really wanted to give it a shot. But the choice to go to college, was something that I made, when I was much younger. Finishing my education was really important to me, and specifically studying theater rather than film. It was just a world that I hadn't, been a part of nearly as much as I had been with film. So learning, the different styles of composition and, all the things that have to do with the theater were very important to me, trying to be as well-rounded an actor as I possibly could be.
I look at younger guys like yourself and like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and stuff like that who kind of started younger and kind of grew up in the industry, but have kind of stepped back a little bit and have done more independent projects. What's the appeal of stuff like that?
I mean, just the creative freedom that it offers you, and I mean, obviously, independent film. There's a lot more of a variety of stories. I mean, all of my favorite scripts that not all of them, but most of my favorite scripts that I've read, even films that weren't ultimately made, came from the independent market, because it's just you have the freedom to try things that may not be palatable to the studio necessarily. So there are great studio films that are made, but as you mentioned, a lot of young actors really gravitate towards environments where they can work with filmmakers that aren't necessarily constrained by what a studio has you do.
Awesome. Now, what obviously you picked to do Montana Amazon because you were really attracted to the character. A couple questions. First, what attracted you to that character, and how often do scripts like that come across your door where you're like, I wish I could do this, I just can't, I don't have the time or I don't have the ability?
It's usually With college was not an obstacle to films. You know, a lot of the great independent scripts that I read just ultimately didn't end up getting made. You know, the downturn in the economy has made it hard for really, you know, low budget films to get out there. So there's been some tragedies where I've read some great stories that just ultimately didn't get their money. But with this character in particular, to answer your first question, a lot of the nonverbal aspects of it were pretty attractive to me because Allison's character is pretty much the only character that consistently is talking at all throughout the film. So, you know, with me and Olympia having this, you know, nonverbal, very highly physically charged relationship of aggression and dominance, that was an exciting thing to tackle. So, yeah.
Do you see yourself, as far as future roles are considered, do you see yourself as more like, say, the leading guy, Christian Bale, Batman kind of type of situation, or do you see yourself more as like a, you know, that the guy who's going to be in the lead in like a romantic comedy or the drama or the, you know, the stuff that like you've seen what like Crispin Glover ends up doing, like he was, you know, was in Back to the Future and then ended up in doing really weird stuff, but everyone seems to dig it. So I mean, where do you kind of, you know, see yourself in your career after school and what, you know, that kind of situation?
You know, I try not to plot too much the type of actor that I, you know, want to be seen as, you know, from the place I'm in. I'd like to, you know, try as much of a variety of films as that I, you know, possibly can do. You know, when you mentioned Christian Bale, the film that he did right before Batman was The Machinist, you know, which was a huge change, you know, in physicality as well as the type of film and the type of character and everything. So that sort of flexibility is something that I'd really like to do, you know. And I couldn't have predicted doing this film, you know, 2.5 years ago. So, you know, I look forward to scripts that come along that offer a unique challenge, you know, and aren't things that I've, you know, necessarily dreamed of in the past, you know, things that really take you by surprise is what I look forward to.
How often do you get past scripts from people at school? I mean, does that happen? I mean, do you get kind of treated as like one of the guys there, or do you end up, you know, people kind of harass you a little bit?
People were really great at NYU. I mean, it's such a large school that, and it's in, you know, New York City, so in a way that, you know, somehow offers you a little bit more cover than a more, you know, a campus that would be a little bit more insular, I guess, you know. But, you know, as far as my classmates in the theater school, it was a very close, small group of people, you know, and we were just, you know, just classmates and friends and everything. And, you know, people knew of my background, but it didn't end up being something that interfered with my ability to, you know, create new relationships with new people. Yeah.
And, you know, one last thing, you were mentioning while you were on the panel last night, you kind of hinted at that you might like to take a turn at directing. And do you have anything that you kind of even want to, you know, you're already thinking about? Or are you kind of out there looking for specific things? Or what's that all about?
I mean, it's a tough leap to make, but, you know, as we've seen, you know, a lot of actors who spend a lot of time on sets ultimately get the desire to have that sort of creative control and to sort of create a world of their own, you know, as well as, you know, just act in somebody else's. So yeah, I mean, it's I'd certainly like to make my own work and everything. I you know, don't know necessarily what the easiest route or the quickest route to doing that is, but, you know, it's something that I want to work towards. I technically executive produced this film, you know, and even though that was kind of an honorary title, you know, it's something that, you know, roles behind the camera is something that I do want to approach, you know, and I think I'll ultimately get there.
Do you a writer as well, or just?
Yeah, you know, it's there are stories that I'm interested in, and now that school is in the past, you know, and I have the you know, the freedom to get creative with you know, my free time when I'm not making films and everything. You mentioned Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know, he has that website where they develop work, and he's
Hit Record.
Yeah, he's very forward thinking and you know, about how artists can create new work, and that's very inspiring to me. You know, that's a path like that would be pretty cool.
All right, just real quick, are you active at all online as far as, you know, whether it be social media or otherwise?
I'm not. You know, there's a tough mixture being known in the wider world. You know, I don't participate in Facebook and Twitter and all those things, and I can't say that it's all that attractive to me, but I recognize its great creative potential. So I think I ultimately do need to adapt with the times, you know, and if we're going to, you know, be working with the, you know, wide, you know, the huge pool of creative artists that are out there through the internet, you know, ultimately that's something that I need to broach. But, you know, the obstacle is just, you know, how do you keep your personal life private while still participating in something where that's sort of the currency of that interaction. So it's, you know, I'm certainly studying it and aware of it, you know, and now that I have all this free time that I'm out of school, you know, I can study that rather than the books.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, the free time that you do have, and chatting with us for a couple of minutes. And congratulations on Montana Amazon, and congratulations on being here at the Orlando Film Festival.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you.